Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.
We will open the Board of Supervisors meeting Tuesday, November 8th, 2022 at 9 a.m. Gary, you want to lead the pledge?
Sure. I see Angela is holding up a flag for those who are looking for where the flag's at. So if you'll join me and stand and salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Roll call.
Supervisor Vasquez.
Here.
Supervisor Blazer.
Here.
Supervisor Fuhr.
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford.
Here.
Supervisor Fletcher is absent. Thank you.
All right, next item is the consent agenda, but we have to pull one item, 566, move it to county department in front of 573. And with that modification, let's see, all matters listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and can be enacted in one motion.
I would like to pull some items for further discussion also. 568, 569, and 570.
568.
569 and 570.
574 separate discussions. All right, that's a total of 4 items that have been pulled off that. So with that remaining number of consent agendas, we'll entertain a motion. The public has any comments? No public comments, so I'll entertain a motion.
Bradford will move to approve.
Second.
And we have a second from Don Blazer. All right, all those roll call.
Supervisor Vasquez.
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr.
I'm voting no on 561, 582, and 586. Yes to the rest.
Okay.
One.
Supervisor Bradford.
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher is absent. Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to, you want to discuss 568 or you want to move that to county departments?
What was that?
Don, do you want to discuss those 3 now?
If it works, that'd be fine with me. I think all 3 of them are related, and Jennifer Vasquez could probably answer all the questions.
Okay. Do we have Jennifer online? Yes. All right, go ahead, Don.
Okay, Jennifer, looking at these 3, these are new to me, which doesn't really mean a lot, but they seem pretty closely related. There's the Bringing Families Home program, the Home Safe program, and the Kids Housing Support program. I'm assuming these are all California programs. They total up to about $3 million. Can you explain how these don't duplicate programs or agencies that are already in place and how this money is usually used?
So all three of the programs are administered by the California Department of Social Services. They're grants that we had applied for. They are for rapid rehousing programs. And these programs, in terms of duplication, they're actually specific to populations that HHS already serves. So you'll see that for the CalWorks one, the HSP program, housing support, it is specific to those who are recipients of CalWorks. So there are our clients in the CalWorks program. The other one is related to the Home Safe program, which is for elderly individuals that we are assisting through APS. And then the last one is the Bringing Families Home, which are specific to families served by the Child Welfare Services Division.
So does some of this money actually go out to agencies that are already performing some of these activities?
No, we perform those case management activities and the rapid rehousing portion for deposits and rent subsidies through Health and Human Services Department.
All right. How old are these programs?
Let me look here. I would have to refer to.
Well, just roughly. I mean, these things keep popping up like wildflowers in a field. So it's hard to keep up with them.
Yeah, the housing support program has been around the longest. And then within the next couple of years, they did similar allocations for the other two populations, both the foster care and the elderly and disabled populations. So I do know that the longest one that we've had is HSP. They are some of the most robust programs, like locally, that provide rapid rehousing services to these very targeted populations, but I don't have the exact date on when we first started receiving the grants, but I could certainly get that information to you fairly easily.
No, it just seems, you see so many of these programs, so many agencies, and all of their conversations seem to be almost identical. But I'm just asking the question. I'm not saying you should not use the $3 million, but it is taxpayer money, and I'm just trying to make sure it's going in the right direction.
Yes, these are very specific to populations already served within the department and other programs, and this just provides another layer of support for these vulnerable populations that we're already serving in terms of providing them also homeless resources in addition to the other programs that we operate.
All right, that helps. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any questions from anyone else? Any of the supervisors, any of the board? Any questions from the public? All right, that being said, we need to approve 568, 569, and 570 under the consent agenda.
Actually, through the chair,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt. They were pulled from the consent agenda. I would recommend separate motions for each item.
Separate motions for each item. All right. Let's approve 568. We have no questions from the public or further questions from the board. So roll call 568.
Can we have the first and the second, please?
Mr. Bradford will make a first.
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
and Supervisor Fletcher is absent. Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, 569, Health and Human Services, adopt a resolution authoring Health Human Services Director to submit certification to California Department of Social Services to accept Home Safe program. Need a motion?
Bradford will move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
and Supervisor Fletcher is absent. Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, item 570, Health and Human Services, adopt a resolution authorizing Health and Human Services to submit certification to California Department of Social Services. Need a motion?
Bradford will move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
and Supervisor Fletcher is absent. Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, that being said, we're through with the consent agenda. We'll go to public communications. And before we get started, I'd like to make a statement that the reason we're not in the boardroom is because of the election. It happens every other year. So doesn't do any good to complain about it. We gotta hold voting somewhere. So, all right, if you read public communication, please.
Yes, any person may speak about any subject of concern, provided it is within the jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors and is not already on today's agenda. The total amount of time allotted for receiving such public communication shall be limited to a total of 15 minutes, and each individual or group will be limited to no more than 3 minutes. Prior to this time, speakers are requested to fill out a request to speak card and submit it to the clerk of the Board of Supervisors. If you are participating via Zoom and wish to comment, please use the raise hand function or *9 if participating on a phone. Please note, no board action can be taken on comments made under this heading. And through the chair, it seems that we have no hands raised on Zoom.
Well, thank you very much. Any new people attending the Zoom meeting want to comment at all? Okay. No one new, so we'll go to county departments. Our next one is 583, assessor approved joint JPA with other California counties, creating the California County Assessors Information Technology Authority in order to receive, manage, and expend up to $30 million of state funds for technological improvements. Okay, assessor.
Okay, good morning, Chair Vasquez and members of the board. My name's Steve Duckles. I'm the county assessor. And I'm here today to request approval for the chair to sign a joint powers agreement with other California counties, creating the California County Assessors Information Technology Authority. The purpose of the authority will be to receive, manage, and expend up to $30 million of state funds for the development of technological improvements for California county assessor departments. The state intends to distribute the funds evenly over the next 3 years as set forth in California Revenue and Taxation Code section 95.60. In order to qualify for the state funds, at least 2 counties must approve and sign onto the JPA by November 15th of 2022. The authority will be managed by a 9-member board of directors consisting of the California Assessors Association president and treasurer, a coordinating assessor, and 2 assessors from large counties, 2 from medium-sized counties, and 2 from small counties. Counties which join the authority will not be obligated to commit any local funding to the development of technological improvements. However, in future years, once programs are developed, it's anticipated that there will be ongoing maintenance fees. These fees would be announced each year no later than January 1st and would take effect the following fiscal year. Members not in agreement with the fees would be able to withdraw from the JPA with 90 days written notice. The Assessors Association has identified 5 technology improvements that they like to use the funds to develop. The first is a Proposition 19 portal, which would allow assessors to more efficiently administer the new law as it relates to base year value transfers, since counties need to work together and coordinate exchange information. The second is an exemption e-filing system that would be standardized across the state. The third is a non-residential sales database that would allow county assessors across the state to share commercial property sales information. The third would be a unified application and database framework for megabyte counties. And the fifth would be for the development of automatic enrollment technology. As of today, 3 counties have approved and signed the JPA. Those counties are Alameda County, Kings County, and Modoc County. And besides Yuba, Yolo, Shasta, Marin, and San Joaquin County are also going before their board supervisors today seeking approval, and more are expected later in the month and into next month. And from what I've heard, the Department of Finance is impressed with the progress that assessors have made, and things appear to be going well. So at this time, I'm happy to try to answer any questions that you have, and thank you for your consideration.
Any questions from the board? Any questions from the board? All right, I have a question. So for the first time in history, we agreed to have one software system, or is that my impression?
That appears to be the direction we're going. Yeah. I mean, we'd still have Megabyte, but this would allow us to develop improvements that counties don't already have. And so, yeah, it would make things more unified across the state.
Wow. I think we should have a recognition for this factor. Counties agree on something. Any further questions from the board? Any questions from the public? All right, that being said, I'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
Bradford will move to approve.
A motion.
Second.
All right, and we have a second. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher is absent. Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's 582 Administrative Services, approve professional services agreement with Madsen Roofing and Weatherproofing for roof rehabilitation.
Good morning, Board. Commander Baines with Admin Services. I'm here to recommend that the board execute the contract between the county and Madsen Roofing and Waterproofing. The project consists of rehabilitation and restoring the roof at the government center, sheriff's facility, and the courthouse. Each of these rehabilitation and restoration project will be a little bit different at each facility, but they all create a 20-year lifespan of the roof and a warranty, a 20-year warranty. And it also increases the R value of the roof. Here at the government center, we'll be installing a 3-layer system. But prior to the installation, we'll have to remove the solar panels and reinstall them after the project is completed. And we have a separate vendor doing that. At the sheriff's facility, we have to improve the pitch of the roof because we have some low spots that create puddles. So at the sheriff's facility, we'll be installing a foam board prior to installing a single ply membrane roof, which that will help improve the drainage and seal the roof. At the courthouse, we have a newer section and an older section. On the newer section, we'll be doing the same thing as the government center. We'll be installing a 3-layer system. On the older section, we have to remove all the existing material, install a foam board to increase the pitch, same thing as the sheriff's facility, and then install a 3-layer system. Working at the courthouse is going to be a little bit more difficult because we have to do all this extra work in removing the material. But also we started the medical mental health facility project. So there'll be a lot of coordination that will need to take place. We did go out to RFP and we received 5 proposals, and Madsen Roofing and Weatherproofing was the best value for the county. They came in at $3.5 million. And we recommend that the board execute the contract. I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions from the board? Well, I have a question. Where's Madsen based out of?
I believe they're out of Sacramento.
Okay. Any questions from the public? We'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
Bradford will move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr,
No.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher is absent. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next item is 566. I think the Supervisor Fuhrer is going to mute, or what is?
I believe I need to disconnect completely. Is that correct, Mr. Shapazi?
What you'll need to do first, you'll have to identify the nature of the conflict that you have on items 566 and 573. Recuse yourself. I'd go to mute and off the video.
Oh, I don't need to disconnect from the room itself.
Ideally, you would disconnect from the room itself.
Yeah, I'll just disconnect from the room itself, and then Mary, you can have you or Angela can text me or call me to come back into the room. So I've done various services provided for Habitat over the years. I'm a former president there, so I've worked closely with them. We provide real estate services. We provided accounting services to help them do their audits. I have various family members who work there, so we thought it would be I thought it would be best to simply recuse myself from any thing to do with Habitat. It's a great organization, but I don't want to have anything where I vote on something to color it or affect it. Is that accurate?
Thank you, Supervisor Fuhrer. Yes.
All right, I'm disconnecting now.
Okay. All right. 566 is community development and services. Ratify and approve letter of support for the Habitat for Humanity Yuba-Sutter infill infrastructure grant program application for the Olivehurst multifamily housing project.
Through the chair, I'm Kevin Perkins with Community Development. A little bit of background on this. Habitat for Humanity has recently purchased a couple of properties on the corner of Chestnut and 2nd Street in Olivehurst that they're seeking to develop a 124-unit affordable housing complex. As part of that development, they have applied for an IIG grant, which is an infill infrastructure grant, in the amount of $7,470,100. As part of that application, they needed a letter of support by the Board of Supervisors chair. The application had a really short window on when we needed this letter. So the board chairman has signed the letter, and now we're seeking ratification and approval of the letter that the board chair has signed. I'm here to answer any questions you may have. That's my brief presentation on this.
Okay, any questions of the board? Any questions from the public? There being none, we'll bring this back to the board for a motion.
Bradford will move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhrer is recused, Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher is absent. Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, next item being 573, Community Development and Services. Adopt a resolution approving a certification of no relocation with State of California Department of Housing and Community Development and an indemnification agreement with Habitat for Humanity for the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Multifamily Housing Project known as the Prosperity Village. That's a mouthful. Okay.
Through the chair, Kevin Perkins again with Community Development. A little bit of a background on this. A few years back, Habitat for Humanity received CDBG funding to acquire a hotel on Northfield Road and to convert it into 61 units of affordable housing. Since Habitat has acquired that property, the county has had a funding source, the CDBG DR multifamily housing funding, and we put out an RFP and that funding is in the amount of $1.6-ish million. The CDSA put out an RFP for affordable housing projects in the 95901 zip code that could utilize this money. Habitat has submitted an application that your board approved. As part of the finalization of this application to secure funding for Habitat. And again, the funding is going to go to installing a new roof, installing HVAC and ventilation, upgrading the electrical and lighting, installing solar and backup power and covered parking, and then some minimal improvements inside the units, which is effectively adding kitchenettes or improving the kitchenettes and adding refrigerators. As part of this project, California Housing and Community Development requires that the board certify or the board execute a certification of no relocation on the project, which basically is saying that Habitat will not relocate any of the people that are currently living at Prosperity Village or their belongings off-site. The nature of the project isn't going to require them to move anyone off-site, but again, this is a requirement of HCD. Furthermore, to ensure that the county doesn't have any liability if for some reason Habitat does have to move someone off-site for these repairs, we have an indemnification agreement that Habitat has agreed to, stating that Habitat's fully responsible for any costs associated with relocating anyone if they should. The plan is they're not going to relocate anyone. However, if they do, we have an indemnification agreement that ensures that the county is covered and won't have to pay for any relocation costs. I'm here to answer any questions that your board may have.
Any questions from the board? Well, I'm going to have a dinner there delivered to Prosperity Village to kind of find out how it's working with the people that are involved. And we're going to hopefully find some new ways to address existing problems, because the homeless efforts statewide are not working. And Governor Newsom seems to think it's because we don't get involved enough. But I think that Habitat for Humanity is doing a great job, and we're going to find out from the people what they like about it and what they don't like about it. So I'll bring that report back to the board. But any questions from the public? We'll bring it back to the board for a motion.
Bradford will move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhrer is recused, Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
and Supervisor Fletcher is absent. And through the chair, just to let you know, we do have a hand raised. I'm not sure if they want to comment on this item or another item.
Well, we're dealing with this on an individual basis. So if it's not this item, we've already passed it. There not a lot. What do they want to discuss? This item? I can't hear you, Mary.
Mr. McKinney, you can go ahead and unmute yourself, and you could say if you want to speak on this item or next one. Mr. Terrence McKinney, you can unmute yourself.
It was the last item. I raised my hand twice before. Am I too loud? Am I speaking too loud?
No.
Actually,
So the previous item, which was 566, is that what you want to talk about?
I was talking about Steve Dockles, and I had a question for Steve Dockles and Perminder Baines. So for Steve, Mr. Dockles, I forgot my question. I tried to write it down, but I forgot it. But for Perminder and Mr. Baines, it's a complex question. How much will all this cost? Who will be paying for it? And are there any other buildings that your company is looking at to work on? That's my question.
Perminder Baines Admin Services. It's currently it's 3.5 million for the 3 roofs that we're looking at. And that's what we're looking at currently. And currently there's no additional roofs that we're looking at. Well, I shouldn't say that. there is the library that we're looking at also, but we have a separate grant for that project. So we will be going out to bid for the library roof.
Thank you.
Okay. That being said, I guess the next item is, let's see, 589. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Community Development Services adopt a resolution for approval of a fee deferral loan agreement with Regional Housing Authority and Plumas Lake Pacific Associates. All right.
Excuse me, through the chair, Kevin Perkins.
Do we have, excuse me, before we start, do we have Supervisor Fuhrer back?
Where is Supervisor Fuhrer?
He disconnected. We need to reconnect him. So he
Okay.
can participate.
Did anybody call him? Or text him?
Yes, we are giving him privileges now. He should be in just a minute.
Thank you. Sorry, Kevin.
There he is.
Jumping the gun.
All right, Seth.
All right.
Sure.
All right, are we ready?
You're ready, Kevin.
All right, so a little bit of background on this item. In 2020, the Regional Housing Authority and Pacific West Communities secured land. They secured land entitlement for a 9.3 or 03 acre parcel in the community of Plumas Lake, effectively at the northernmost terminus of River Oaks Boulevard at Algernon. This 9 acre parcel is the only affordable housing or the only high density residential property in the Plumas Lake. The specific plan that was adopted in 1993 and was set aside for affordable housing in the Plumas Lake specific plan in 93, and then also in the approval of the Ross Ranch subdivision in 2005. So after Regional Housing and Pacific West Communities secured the property, they're looking to build a 48 unit, I want to make there's a minor error in the staff report. I said 47 units. It's 47 affordable units and 1 unit for a property manager. So it's a total of 48 units. But they're going to develop the first phase of this project, which is roughly 3 acres in size. And they're going to do a 48 unit affordable family apartment complex. In 2020, Regional Housing approached staff to find out if the county was interested in doing a fee deferral loan agreement to cover some development impact and building permit fees in the amount of $248,136. And on September 8th, 2020, your board adopted a resolution which committed to the future fee deferral loan agreement once Regional Housing and Pacific West Communities received full project funding. In 2022, the phase 1 did receive tax credit funding, and they have all right now. Regional Housing and Pacific West Community has all of their construction funding in place. They have submitted building permits to the building department, and to finalize all of their financing for the construction of these 48 units. We're now coming back to secure these agreements that your board committed to in 2020. The first agreement's a fee deferral loan agreement. Again, it's in the amount of $248,136. The loan term would be 55 years with a 3% simple interest that will be paid through residential income receipts on the project. The second item before you is a subordination agreement between Yuba County, Key Bank National Associates, and Willington Trust National Associations. Those two banks are the primary construction finance lenders. And so this loan agreement that Regional Housing and Pacific West Communities would have with the county would be a junior loan. So we need to do a subordinate agreement where we're recognizing that the county's in second position in terms of loans. So those are the summary of what's in front of you. I'm here to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Any questions from the board?
Kevin, I've got just a quick question. How are we doing in total for required affordable housing in the county?
Yeah, that's a good question. Every 8 years, the county is required, it gets a RHNA number, which is a regional housing needs assessment number that discusses how many units in different income classifications that we need. So between the Cedar Lane project that's getting constructed right now and this proposed River Oaks family apartment complex, we are at, I believe we're at 41% of where we need to be by 2029 on our low income category. And that's not counting the 61 units of that regional housing has. That's a different income category. That's an extremely low income category. So, frankly, our housing element was approved by your board last year in 2021, and we're already at 41% of where we need to be by 2029.
Okay, good, thanks.
Through the chair, what is the expected cost per door for this project?
Just to let you know, I do have Gus Becerra, who's the executive director of regional housing, in my office right now, and the expected cost per unit is going to be $551,000.
Thank you.
All right, any further questions from the board? Any questions from the public? We will entertain a motion.
Bradford will move to approve.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
and Supervisor Fletcher is absent. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. I think we're into ordinances and public hearing, if I'm correct.
Yes, sir.
So,
If you challenge in court the action or decision of the Yuba County Board of Supervisors regarding a zoning, planning, land use, or environmental protection matter made at any hearing described in this notice, excuse me, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at such hearing or in written correspondence delivered to the Yuba County Board of Supervisors at or prior to such hearing. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes per individual or group.
okay, we have item 545. Community Development Services. Perminder, I guess. All right. Who's presenting this 545 Community Development Ordinance, public hearing, waive second reading and adopt ordinance amending sections 10.5 building standards and construction codes?
Through the chair, this is Kevin Perkins, Community Development. I didn't expect to present this, but I will present this. This is the second reading of an update to chapter 10.05, the building standards and construction codes. Just a reminder, this ordinance is the county adopting, or it would allow the county to adopt the new building code that's going to go into effect on January 1st, 2023. This item was before your board, I believe, at your last meeting. I'm here to answer any questions. Again, Dave Maddox, the assistant building manager, at the last meeting described or discussed that there aren't any major changes in this new 2023 building code. In the past, there's been, code changes to fire sprinkler in residential homes and requiring solar on new projects. But this code cycle, there aren't any major changes of that nature. I'm here to answer any questions your board may have.
All right, any questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Okay. Did we open the public hearing? We'll open the public hearing. All right, waive the second, need somebody to waive the second reading and adopt the ordinance. Gary?
I'll move to close the public hearing, waive the second reading, and adopt the ordinance.
I'll
Okay.
second.
All right, we have a first and second, roll call?
Supervisor Vasquez,
Yes.
Supervisor Blazer,
Yes.
Supervisor Fuhr,
Yes.
Supervisor Bradford,
Yes.
Supervisor Fletcher is absent. Motion passes. Thank you.
All right, correspondence. I think.
We have one item, 578-2022. It's received fish and game notice of proposed 90-day extension of emergency regulations.
All right. Board and staff member reports. We'll start with Gary. Yes.
So I don't have anything specific to mention about the last 2 weeks. I will note that I've been writing a weekly update of the various things I'm involved with and what's going on. And that's available on my supervisor social media as well as at supervisorbradford.org. So if people want to see what I'm up to, they can check that out.
Okay, can you make sure to send us a copy to all the supervisors so we can be jealous and plagiarize where needed?
Sure.
Yeah. Seth.
Had a couple of great events this last week, non-governmental, but it is the Rest Luau, which provides housing for women and children during the winter, did their event. And then we had the event for the Salvation Army, who obviously is a great program to change people's lives and turn them around. And then there's a program coming up this Thursday at Crossroads Church, which will be Joshua House, another great drug rehab program for men. So lots of good programs out there in the community. And one last program to throw a pitch for is the Olivehurst Community Task Force will be next week as well.
Okay. Don?
Well, it's great watching this election day process. It's just,
I'm glad you're happy.
What's that? Anyway, it's great watching the process and being part of the whole thing. And then, Andy, you were probably going to mention this, but on Friday is Veterans Day, and we have the big Veterans Day parade in downtown Marysville. So it's a chance to come out and thank the vets for having this election day.
All right. Well, I've got a couple of things. First, it's an amazing year this year. If you look back on the accomplishments of the staff and everybody involved with Yuba County, there was a common goal. We learned to row in the same direction, which is unusual for any county to do that. Rachel Downs did a presentation that did a phenomenal job at the Chamber of Commerce meeting, and hopefully we're going to be able to have that on our website. I think everybody in the county should actually look at it, because all the projects that we've completed and all the projects we have put in the hopper are all because of everybody within the county that worked together. Staff, completely, everybody was involved. Everybody had a little part in it. And when they did the chamber presentation, it was interesting because when Rachel was done, it was kind of quiet in there. It's a lot of people were amazed that little Yuba County could do that many things. And Steve, as I said, $804 million in 1 year assessment value, and we're looking forward to a larger amount coming this year. So thank you very much to the staff. Thank you very much for a great, successful year. All right. Any further comments from the board? Any further comments from the public? Last chance. All right, I think we'll take a 5-minute break and come back with closed session. Existing litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9D1 worker compensation claim, Lois Stevenson. So if we can be back here in 5 minutes, I'll see you then.
Thank you, Chair. And Mary, we'll need Jill in that closed session. Thanks, Sean.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com.